Today's story is a science story. I'll be reading a story about floating. Please follow along with the story and be ready to answer the questions after. I hope you have fun with this story. Floating. If you put a leaf in a bowl of water, the leaf floats. It sits on top of the water. If you put a twig in the water, it also floats. This is because the leaf and the twig are lighter than the water. Solids that are lighter than a liquid will float. If you put a rock in the same bowl of water, the rock sinks. It falls to the bottom of the bowl. If you put a marble in the bowl of water, it also sinks. This is because the rock and marble are heavier than the water. Solids that are heavier than a liquid will sink. How does a ship float? It uses tanks filled with air. The air in the ship's tanks weighs less than the water, so the ship floats. And I know you probably are wondering, whenever you see ships on TV shows, or maybe when you're in the tub and you have your own boat, how is it possible that it floats on water? Because the air in the boats, or the air in the tanks in the boats, or the air in your toy boat is lighter than the water that you may have in a tub or the water that's in an ocean. That's why ships can float in oceans and your toy boat can float in water. What makes a submarine sink? A submarine also has air tanks. When submarines need to go underwater, air from the tanks is released. Another word for released is let go. That makes the submarine heavier than the water, so it sinks. Whenever a solid is put in a liquid, such as water, the solid pushes some liquid away. The water level rises. A light object weighs less than the water it pushes away. So the object floats. A heavy object weighs more than the water it pushes away. So the object sinks. Liquids can also float or sink. This is because some liquids are thicker than other liquids. Maple syrup, like the syrup you put on your waffles, is very thick. Oil is thinner than syrup. If you mixed syrup, oil, and water together, whether the syrup would sink, the oil would float on top. Scientists study whether objects float or sink to make better ships, planes, and medicines. Understanding the properties of matter, such as whether they sink or float, helps you learn about the world around you. What would you like to learn about sinking and floating?